This is totally a range here. We've just come off of the middle, and probably we're going to see the middle part again. I'd like to see us go through the middle and go through up to the high. Turns out, just like last week, we had some slippage, remember, from the 188 200, and it was to the 227. If you guys can all remember, every single one of our reversals had a little bit of slippage, right? Well, the same slippage happened on the 261, where everything was wicks and spikes past to the 288. If we start to go to the 288 past the 261, and it's just like the other day, that would be interesting. That would be interesting. If we could take advantage of the 288s back to the 100s instead, that would be cool. Also, where it ends up landing as well. Like in the event that we get stuck on blue lines like this, it's huge, you know? Like we want to make sure that we're aware of what's happening every time it tries to return back to the B point. Because like this is a bit, I mean, somebody doesn't like that that's happening, right? You know? And I noticed that this triggered a 61% retracement. Like this triggered, more than a 61% retracement now. Like we barely even got close to the B point and it's already started to give people grief. And I'm like, well, it's been common lately that the mornings have been full of traps for all the people that just sign on in the morning. It kind of reminded me how we slipped through the 188s earlier. Like on Friday we totally slipped through them, but it was just to get to the 227, you know? And then it like totally reversed back to the B point. Ultimately, I want to see it get through the yellow line and beyond it. If you did catch it, then good on you. Got a B point still up there, yet to be tested, remember. Just for people that weren't here at the open, like we had two B points, right? On Friday at the close, right? It had a B point down here. I'll put it in for a second just for visual aid. And it left us right in the middle of both of those B points, which is really funny to me because it's kind of a very neutral kind of environment. Then we came down and smashed this one on the bottom. Never have we ever come back to hit the one on the top. We just broke it. Beautiful. And by the way, we're at the B point. If you knew that this was the target where if you put orders on that level, knowing that wherever you bought, you would be able to sell there, you're good. And I mean, if you can't find an incredibly accurate entry, does it mean you just have to get nothing? Can you get a small position from a pullback? Yeah, of course. But do you get a full size position when it's not as clear as it could be? No, it doesn't make sense to get a full size position when it's not as clear as it could be. Yet you know wholeheartedly that it will end up here. Can you get something for it? Can you start building the cushion for it, right? At the end of the day, I also mentioned anything we do on top of the high will be taken back. I mentioned that, and I'll say it again, at the end of the day, like I don't want people to forget because I give a lot of information and you might just be like focused on something and I'm like, well, don't forget, there's an agenda. And they tried to make people not be able to get exposure to this. And when that's the vibe, you understand that it's going to be difficult to get the entry. It's not going to be as clean as normal. You're fighting all these other people, the pesky individuals of the morning for the trade. And to me, it's obvious. Like, it was obvious that we were going to go get that B point. But yes, we've managed to come up to hit the 127, 141. We are above everything that we've done today so far. And yes, the 5-wave move had a little bit of turbulence, but it's not like the yellow line didn't break. It's not like it didn't work out exactly the way that it should and is benefiting greatly to anybody that was associated with the break of the yellow line. All it was capture a position to that level. And if that's all that the market wants to give us in the morning, like, oh my goodness, it's definitely going to do this, what's our job become? Get exposure to that thing. And if you're already exposed from previous days, then you have to do what to get there? Nothing. You've earned the right to do nothing, and you still get paid for the movement. So that's the beauty of holding. I want to share its beauty more because, there's always an opportunity to look for longer term moves out of shorter term moves. And, it's a bad habit to cut the whole thing just because you're in the habit of ending it at the short term target. If you get into the habit of checking for long term possibilities every time you've made your profit on the short term, you might end up with trades that prevent you from having to catch shit ones. Like, let's say you're holding from a previous day and then today, wasn't working absolutely perfectly. You couldn't catch the first trade of the day perfectly. Well, you're holding. You still get to benefit from it. You don't have to take another risk. You don't have to maybe get stopped out. You don't have to maybe take 5 trades trying to get exposure to the trend because you're already in. And the farther back that you're in from, the less you have to think about hedging it. The less you have to think about, pullbacks that are going to threaten your position. Unless we have pullbacks that are so frequently coming back to where you got in, or that there's a risk of making huge movements back to where you got in, you know that you're still fine with that long-term target and you have exposure to it. You're not just holding for the sake of holding. There always has to be a long-term target and a long-term agenda or objective. And it gets really interesting when we start to crush through all-time high. Because a lot of people just think it's an abyss up there, like with nothing up there. And I'm like, oh, there's a lot up there. We don't ever have to have been up there at all. And we can see levels up there that are very attractive. It is not a lost environment where people love to feel confused about it. They think it feels good to talk about how confusing it is with each other, or how bad it's been for them, and it kind of the only reason why people do it is because it feels good. Take a look at how we just made a 5-wave move all the way up to a 188.200, which it does have a relationship with the 100. And again, I mean, who was buying above the break of the trend? Like, we all knew this was the trend. It was the target. It was that high of day, for crying out loud. And when we ended up breaking it, nobody should have been buying after it, because that was the target, to get exposure to that line. You can see why. Because now we've taken literally everything that we've done underneath that and like doubled it. You know what I mean? More than doubled it. Right? So coming back to attack the highs is not so uncommon either. Like I mentioned, everything we do beyond the high could be taken back to it. But yeah, sorry, this is the movement that we've managed to do. Managed to make it a little bit more now. We know that the 188 and the 5-wave move has the capacity to take it farther than a neckline as well. You can see that whole head and shoulders like pattern forming in there now. And I wonder too, I'm like, will the head and shoulders have the capacity to get a head to form out of the neckline? Because that's the distance that we need to fulfill the B point. Obviously no stops have to be dragged above the B point.